welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 Hit Games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description listing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 294. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. First up, we have a team dig from Michael Madsen and Zed Supremus. WINGAMES /board/dice. Well, I guess at the very least, we know this is going to be a dice game of some kind. Maybe. I'm going to be very disappointed if this is just a dice roller. Oh geez. It's only 25 kilobytes. That's a bad sign. What's the file ID did that say? So, Windows Dice, or 1.0, object of this game is to remove numbers, buttons, okay, from the board and increase the score using the dice rolls available. If one board is cleared, the game clears to a new board. Accept the score, which will remain. If you are out of dice rolls, the game is over. Okay, so it sounds like similar to... Or hang on a second. You know, this description kind of reminds me of a physical dice game I own called Sharpshooters, which is kind of like it has this board that you're trying to put dice into after rolling them to complete lines, and then you get chips based on how many of these lines that you complete. And not to mention, different lines are worth different amounts of them. So that could be what we're dealing with here. Windows Dice 1.0, Warren Soft, 1991. So dice marketed Shareware, registration fee is $7. Wait, win cash? To promote this game, cash prizes are awarded each month with more than 25 registrations received. A drawing for a $50 cash bonus will be held. Registration will automatically enter you in this drawing. Warren Soft's decisions on prices are final. Only registered users can win. More information on... Okay, I think this guy should be very thankful that his game didn't do so well. Because, yeah, there's some legal issues here. When it comes to doing any kind of lotteries and sweepstakes, there's some interesting catches depending on like where you are and everything. Yeah, and sometimes they can be very strict about this kind of stuff at the government level. So yeah, when you want to do like any kind of giveaway or lottery or something, you have to be really freaking careful. Just an example of what's legally wrong with this right here. It says right here, only registered users can win. Yet there is a registration fee of $7. Well, you ever notice on a lot of sweepstakes there's a no purchase necessary thing? Yeah, there's a reason for that, and that's because they're legally required to allow you to enter without purchasing things. Yeah, so right there's one of your failings in terms of the legalities of your sweepstakes. Okay, so this number will start with 4 and will be reset to 4 if the board is reset. If both dice show the same value, the number will be increased by 2 to a maximum of 9. If you can't remove any of the numbered buttons, use this button to roll the dice again. So deduct 1 from the number of rolls and the game is over if you have no more rolls left. You can remove any numbered buttons, the rolls number will be added to your score and the dice will be rolled. No point deduction on the rolls number. Interesting. Okay, so this isn't exactly what I was thinking of in terms of the physical game I own. Okay, that's weird. It says here in the README, if the game is already running and you try to load it again, an error message is displayed since only one copy of the game is allowed at any given time? Why? This is just regular... I seriously doubt there's any kind of, like, actual proper copy protection in this, in which case maybe yeah, that would make sense, but this is a shareware game. You don't need copy protection in a shareware game, not unless it has the registration system built into it, which it might, in which case, okay, maybe yeah, then I can understand that. I guess we're gonna find out in a second here. That's an interesting kind of restriction, having a cap on the score, but whatever, let's play it. So, Dice 1.0. See manual how to win cash. Yeah, we already talked about that. Okay. Well, you got a very small window. I'm going to say this does not maximize. Why am I not surprised? Okay, so I guess the idea is if we make a roll, then we have to clear the number from the board. So in this case, we got a 9. Okay. Now in this case, we got a 7. But I'm guessing we could either do the 7 as a whole or also the 3 and 4. So if I wanted to do... Okay, and it only removes the 1... Or no, it got rid of the 3 and the 4 together. So now I've rolled an 8. Okay, now I got a 6. And now 2 and 5, which is 7. But I've also still got 2 and 5, so let's get rid of both of those. That's not 7. And there's no 1 in there. Or actually, that's interesting, because now I don't think we could technically win, because of... Yeah, so... I kind of just screwed myself by leaving it as a 1 and a 7, because that'll never happen. Oh, and I just discovered something interesting with the randomizer trying to get to the end of this, which I'm going to demonstrate in a second here. So, you see the roll we got right here, 1 and 2? Watch what happens to this if I roll multiple times. Notice how it got stuck on 4 and 2 for all of the rolls I just made. So it's only advancing the RNG based on a particular timer that's going. So as a result of that, if you roll too many times too quickly, the RNG never advances. So you have to make sure that there's at least a second or so between your rolls, otherwise you're just going to have a bunch of repeat rolls. That is actually kind of a common problem to run into based on the way that random number generation works, and particularly in Visual Basic, because there's a way to set your randomization up, but if you're using a timer object to set that randomization up, then depending on how you've configured that timer is going to determine where you are in the RNG whenever you try to pull from it. So, yeah, that's not exactly a good way of doing it. It's a problem we've seen before. Not often, but that we've seen before in some of these Windows 3.1 games. Anyways, so we got a 1 and 5 here, so let's do the 1 and 5. So whenever you get a double, it increases your rolls left by 2. But can we actually pull a 6? No. So we have to just roll again. We got a 1 and 2, which will be 3. Okay, so for this game, I was able to get up to a score of 18. So let's see here. So 1 and 3, let's start with those. 2 and 6. But I want to pull those off immediately. It might be a good idea, because 4 and 5 I think would be easier to get to. 1 and 5 gets us to 6, so we're going to have to pass on that. Oh, we got a double, so that gives us some more rolls. That's a 5. That's 11, can't do much with that. 3 and 4 is 7, 4 and 2 is 6, so we can't do anything with that. Then that's 9, that's 8. And now we just need a 4, but we have to do it as 2 dice, so that might not happen. Yeah, that didn't happen. Okay, 1 and 6, that goes for a 7, and 7 is the most common result you can get from 2 dice, so I'm going to just do the 1 and the 6 together. I got another 1 and a 6, so I guess we'll do the 7. Now it's a 2 and a 5. We'll do both of those. 2 and 6 is 8. Oh, we got a 3 there. Ooh, but if I go for the 3 as is with that, that means I'm going to have to get the 4 individually. But I don't really have many options. Or I could just roll it out and ignore it. I better pick it, because, well, there's a 9. So now I have to get either 2 2s or a 1 and a 3. So, not very likely, but not impossible, and I didn't get it. So yeah, this isn't a bad dice game, but it's definitely an unusual one. Especially since you really have to plan ahead in order to not get completely screwed out of clearing the board. So that was Dice, a very interesting sort of game in terms of how it plays out. I'm not sure if it's worth $7, but like, I mean, it's not that it doesn't play fine. It's just very basic when it comes down to it. So I guess depending on what you want out of a game depends on if you would want to spend any money on this or not. Figures I clear the board after doing my outro. Next up from Grimjack, we've got DOSGAMES /PD1 /WSPMV2. I don't have a freaking clue what this is going to be. Okay, those are some interesting file names. We've got an Xmas and an Xmas tree, along with sports, fruits, Easter, castle, baby. I have no idea. If I had to guess, I'd say like some kind of word search, maybe? Like, that's the only thing I can think of that would have that many completely unrelated categories. Well, let's see what the fileid.diz says. So, fileid.diz, word search puzzle. I was able to guess it once I like thought about that mix of names and stuff. Anyways, word search puzzle maker v2 can create 24 variations of word search puzzles. Makes it quick and easy to create and save shaped grids, allows users to create and save his own word lists, and save puzzles into ASCII files to be easily imported into editors and word processors. Okay. Do we have any particular document.txt and directory? Is that like a... What's that going to have? Directory.txt. Okay, so it's basically keeping a list of what particular categories are available or what boards have been made. So I guess we'll edit the document.txt. It's not a README, but I'm guessing this is probably... Yep, table of contents. So apparently this was made by a Stephen Grohl in 91 to 93 through an Impact Publishing. Okay, I'm looking through this document, but I'm not seeing any registration info. Which, if there's no registration info or anything here, then this might actually be wares. Which, you know, wouldn't surprise me. We've seen plenty of wares on the show. Oh, wait, never mind. If we actually look into the go.batch file, this is actually saying, "Thank you for trying WSPM. This exciting program allows you to create many different variations of the popular word search puzzle. With this easy-to-use tool, you can create and save your own word lists. You can control the directions words appear in the puzzle grid. You can change the way words are listed in the word list section of the puzzle. WSPM also comes with a powerful editor, which allows you to customize your creations to meet many needs." So yeah, it's saying right here that pay close attention to the registration instructions which are given on the first screen that pops up after you type WSPM and press enter. So yeah, so apparently there is registration stuff going on. Question is, yeah, there's like no order forms or anything though. Like that's what's so weird about this, is that if there was like a special file to like that you would be able to print out so that you could order the game or something, but I'm not seeing that. Like there's no registration instructions in any of the raw documentation provided, which means it's only in the executable, which is just weird. Anyways, WSPM, let's see what we got. So what will you get if you register this Shareware program? So a $10 gift certificate good toward registration of any Impact product. 5/4-inch disc containing the very latest version with 100 word lists and 10 shaped grids, printed documentation, information about updates, permission to freely use WSPM beyond the 2-week trial period. And apparently the registration fee is $15. Okay, so if this is as powerful as it says it is, then $15 is actually not that bad. So go for color. That is really hard to read and also didn't stay on screen very long. Okay, so we can run word search puzzle maker, you can exit system or printer switch. That's not much in the way of options. Well, run the word search maker. So, okay. So you have the ability to change directory. I like to see how it's using cprompt default. Like, that's not right. Although if we hit the directory here, it shows that fine. So we can do change settings, enter new path, or just enter for no change. Select grid size, full grid, reduced grid. Okay. Can have words listed, have the first letters and spaces listed, have spaces only, or scramble the letters of each word in the list. No, I'll just list them. And then we can also have horizontal left to right and vertical top to bottom, horizontal right to left and vertical bottom to top, and then all directions including diagonal. Why can't we have diagonal that goes, that has limits in which angles they go at too? Let's do the full shebang for diagonal in all directions. So I guess we can go to make puzzle, and then we can pick one of these. Let's pick computer. So those are our words. I don't like how joystick has a space in it. Not sure how that's going to translate through. So we can either have a standard box-shaped grid, or two for an existing grid, or create a shaped grid. We'll do standard box shape. Okay, so it actually put it together here. What does the ASCII thing do? Enter file name? No. So I'm guessing maybe that's just to... that's just to save it to a text file. Okay. But this doesn't actually let us solve it, does it? Like, I mean, we can hit S to see the solution, which shows us where everything is. But that doesn't actually let us, like, play it as a game. So this isn't actually a game, it's just a creation utility. Although it does let us customize it however we want here. We have a brush mode. So we can actually input... We can put in whatever letters we want to. We can even put in spaces. Control B. So we could have dots, stars, and letters as our brush. Okay, and Control F. Well, that's interesting, because it's like, it's working almost like, what do you call it? A paint program. So if we clear grid... Okay, so that gets rid of everything except these. Like, I mean, we can change those, but that doesn't seem to... Oh, but if we clear the grid, then it resets it back to the default here. Huh. Yeah, we can clear the grid with stars if we wanted to instead. Or clear the grid back to that, or fill it with random letters. It won't let us fill it multiple times, so we'd have to clear it again and then fill it again. And yeah, it is giving us different random letters. So if we try to do a shaped grid with the castle list here, how does that work? So it hasn't filled it in automatically. So I'm guessing what we have to do is basically... Do you have to, like, shape the grid first by indicating where things can go? Oh wait, it lets me put stuff over here? What? Why could I go off the edge of the screen? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so if I hit clear grid now... Oh, that just got rid of everything. If I hit fill... Yeah, that's not going to work. See, I'm not sure how you would get it to actually put something in here. Hitting Control L just changes how that works. Control W says to hide words. Okay, so did that actually... If we hit clear grid... Okay, so it did actually put them in and ignored the little space that I created up here. Okay. And I guess you could technically play the word search as it is just by going into the edit mode and just sort of using stars or something to fill in the spaces, or just the dots even. So if you can just look for a word in here. Which word am I going to find first? Because I changed it to the Easter word list now. So funny thing, the first word I found in here is silk, and that's not in the word list. So how's that for random chance that it completely put a totally not in the list word into the grid from random letters? Oh boy. Okay, I finally found a word. So it's actually one of the big ones. So incarnation. So yeah, I found one word so far. This is actually a lot harder than it looks, just because of the fact that the grid is as big as it is, and I don't know, it's just because of this way the these text mode characters have been double spaced with each other, it doesn't feel as even, like the spacing doesn't feel as even, so it's just harder for me to look through it for whatever reason. I don't know. But yeah, for a $15 registration fee, this seems like it would be a pretty useful program if you wanted to make word searches. This is not a very good program for playing a completed word search, but for making them and then also being able to print them or even put them into text files, like, yeah, it seems to work for that. And our last dig for today from Very Softwares is DOSGAMES/arcade/BRDGHOP. I'm going to guess Bridge Hopper, which I don't know if that's an actual game or not, but well, we got a hopper. That's a good start. It's only a COM file. Holy jeez, this might actually be really old. Although we also have an SCR, a doc, and a DAT. Like, one of my first instincts is that this is maybe, or actually, no, the SCR file is huge. Okay, so my initial instinct was that this was going to be another one of those pinball construction set things, but no, there's too many files, and the SCR file is way bigger than it would have to be for high scores. So I think this is actually going to be something completely different. Not sure what, though. Let's actually look at that doc file. So hopper.doc. So Bridge Hopper, that's the name I expected. Written by iHarness. Well, we don't know what this person's first name is, but iHarness. Object of this simple game is to get the men successfully across the various bridges. This is achieved by the use of a movable platform, which on pressing a number key will position itself in the appropriate gap. This kind of sounds like a Game & Watch game. Because I'm pretty sure there's a Game & Watch game where you just simply put your bridge in different positions and then people walk across. Of course, the difference is this says it might actually have some actual animation, so it may not simply be... It may be a more animated version of the Game & Watch game that I'm thinking of. But let's find out. Hopper. Bridge Hopper. And we got a section for the score, section for lives. Oh, it's actually going into a demo mode. Okay, so there's a guy walking across the bridge. You get points for it. And apparently the demo mode is cutting things real close. Although it does help to know that just how much leeway you have. They have to actually completely step off the platform before they fall. Ooh. Yeah, this definitely feels like the Game & Watch game, just with actual animation going on. Can't remember what the Game & Watch game was called, though. Okay, so if we go to instructions... So the object of the game is to get the men safely across the bridge. Unfortunately, the bridge has been damaged, and the gaps are too big to jump. However, at your disposal is a movable platform to assist you. The platform is moved by pressing the appropriate numbered key to fill the desired gap. On levels 1 to 6, there. Oh geez. So, I don't know how many people know this, but you see how we've got this sort of clever font going on? Well, I guarantee you iHarness did not make that font. The Turbo Pascal, Turbo C, all of those Borland programming products actually came with fonts that could be resized, like they were vector fonts, so you could have them as big or as small as you wanted. The problem, though, is that when you're using them in a low-resolution graphics mode, and you try to make it small, it's going to be very pixelated, and there and 3 look very freaking similar to each other. Anyways, on levels 1 to 6, there are 3 gaps, and all the subsequent levels, there are 4. So, the key and the action during the game. So we can pause, we can abort, we can turn sound on and off, or we can move the platform. Okay, let's play this thing. Level 1. And yep, it set my score back. Okay, so we got the guys walking across the bridge. I gotta make sure no one dies, because that would be bad. Oh man, you have to really time this, like, very close. I think the Game & Watch game is probably easier than this. Yeah, you have to be really fast on that. This is level 1? I'm a little scared at how difficult this game's gonna get. On the flip side, it's not often when you see the CGA mode use a different background color than black. So we got a blue background this time. I'm actually a little surprised the level isn't over yet. Yeah, this is still level 1. And yeah, now with this particular set of 3 here, we have to time this like flawlessly. Holy jeez. This game's gonna get stressful. Okay, we've got enough to move on to level 2. So, does it make it faster? Do we have... Whoa! They're coming from the other side now! That was... Okay, yeah, I actually was not expecting that. And I do like that they're differently colored, even. Because I imagine at some point, we're gonna have people coming from both directions. Yeah, this is... Holy jeez, as I said, you have to be super freaking precise with this. Yeah, this is not easy. This is not easy. And this is just level 2. Oh, man. Okay, one, don't make your game so hard that people have trouble beating the first and second levels. Holy jeez. And it's not like it's going fast either. Because yeah, if you see here, the people walking in from the left have yellow shirts on. And as we saw in the second level, the people walking from the right had red shirts on. So that definitely suggests that there's going to be a point in time when they start coming from both directions. Okay, admittedly, the first level's not as bad, but you still have to be really precise with this. This is like taking the Game & Watch game and putting you on, like, mode B, as opposed to mode A, which is the easier mode. And not only that, making it so that you're already, like, halfway up the difficulty scaling before it even... like, wow. Okay, does it at least save our position in the progress through a level? We're going to find that out just based on how quickly it takes to get, like, what our score roughly is once we get to the second level. Because if you have to start the level over every time you make a mistake, that would be brutal. Oh, a level could simply be based on points. Although I don't think so. I think the level's actually... Or no, it might be still based on points. Okay, so it's 1,300 points to advance to level 2. Okay, so it is based on points. Really? Really? It wanted me to... That group of 3 there, it wanted me to go between one of those particular people. Oh man, it's gonna have me do it again. Yikes. This is tough. It's literally it's literally frame perfect. This is a game that wants you to be frame perfect from the first level of the game. That's insane. Well, that's Bridge Hopper. It's functionally it looks nice. And it's like a very simple game when it comes down to it. The author just is sadistic and wants you to be frame perfect from the very beginning. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure I want to play this game anymore. And I know if we got up to level 6, then we'd be able to see 4 bridges instead of 3, but screw that. It's too hard, freaking hard.